So here we are, and Kallum has won the die roll. That means he will be going first with his 60 card, as you just said, Gouki deck. I mean, to be fair, calling it only a Gouki deck maybe isn't really right, because there's Phantom Knights in there. There's also a couple of Infernoble Knights, as you can see. There's Warriors in there, Super Quantal, and there is the Gouki Twist Cobra, right?
I want to say, if I'm going second against the 60 card deck, I'm always a little bit scared. I always assume there's some absolutely crazy combos.
For sure, for sure.
I don't know if Marcel was playing when Gouki was a popular deck, but he's probably going to be a bit concerned, because everyone knows who was playing at the time just what the Gouki deck was capable of.
Tom, that's what I was about to ask you. When was the last time that Gouki was really popular?
Well, it was, I don't want to get the year wrong.
18.
Just
2018 at the European Championships.
Yes.
It ran amok. It was
Luke Parks
won
the whole thing
there
with
were a lot of Gouki decks running around the top 64. It was an insanely powerful deck. I was playing it myself.
Oh, yeah.
Marcello also played it, I remember. So
for sure. It was widely considered to be the best deck in the room, for sure, back in the day. And it is not... You're not able to play that deck in its form from back in the day anymore. So we're really interested and excited to see what is the way to play this deck at the moment.
I mean, back in that day, we had a different master rule, right? So it was actually really strong to extra link your opponent and take up both of the extra monster zones for...
Ooh, and look at that. We already have an Appaloosa set up, so even if Marcel has Nibiru, that is not going to be an issue anymore. And we are going to trigger 2 Gouki effects in our graveyard. That's Headbat, and what was the other one there?
I think it's the new Gouki Guts.
Yeah, that looked like Guts for sure.
Yeah, I think that's a newer one, because originally there used to be 6. So now, I guess there's a few more.
Yeah, that is Guts indeed. And look, we do search for double Gouki rematch there.
I love this card so much.
Unfortunately, you can only use one Gouki rematch now, but next turn you can use it again.
So
he's
we
already
go...
thinking about the next turn.
Yeah, we go for the Headbat.
That Appaloosa used to be a Firewall Dragon.
Yeah, indeed. Things have changed. Times have changed. So we are reviving 2 other Goukis, and now...
I think we are going to see the Codebreaker cards.
Probably we're going to go into the Codebreaker cards. This Codebreaker Virus Swordsman actually was played in Sprite a couple of months ago, just as an out to Baguska, because that was a pretty good card versus that deck that Telemans could put up. But nowadays, here in this Gouki deck, it's just part of the engine. Actually a combo extender in this case. Summoning, what did he summon out there? It's a main deck Codebreaker.
0 Day.
And boy.
Those 2 can link into the Codebreaker Virus Berserker that can now just summon back the Virus Swordsman and the 0 Day, and that's it for Codebreakers. But, I mean, that's a pretty impressive board already.
They did their thing
All
right
of this
there.
so far just from 1 Gouki and 1 Super Quantum Red.
Pretty much, yeah.
So
that's already
that
very
should mean Kallum has still like 4 cards left in his hand, which is crazy.
Are all dark. You know which monster really likes dark monsters?
Oh,
the Phantom Knight.
Yes, Rusty
Bardiche. Something.
So
Rusty.
Rusty. Yeah.
Let's call him Rusty.
So we added back the Phoenix Blade. We could do that back in the day already. That's like one of the best equipped spells you can play in this deck. That you can send.
Very powerful, because you can keep bringing it back, and if you have an effect that needs to discard, you can discard it and then just bring it back to your hand again.
For sure, that's just so strong.
And as an extra bonus, you know, you can give one of your monsters
and
300.
there is the Rusty Bardiche. And that, of course, tells us there has to be a small Phantom Knight engine in there as well, and there we see it.
And I know that this combo is going to be even bigger than I thought, because if he had taken the Virus Swordsman, the Virus something, wait, 1 second.
There's a Berserker and a Swordsman.
Virus Berserker, exactly. Yeah. And the Swordsman to go into Bardiche, he could have used the 0 Day and the Trap to go for a Time Thief Redoer attached with a Trap, which is pretty strong already. So as he did not do that, I assume that there is going to be much more to come here.
I mean, Kallum is playing very quickly, so I assume he knows exactly what he is doing.
And I'm so excited. At the moment, I feel like a kid that didn't wish anything for Christmas and now will be surprised with something, but he doesn't know what it is. And like, Kallum, please surprise me. And I'm already quite surprised. So we are special summoning.
Okay,
and another
oh, that must be IP Masquerena then, right? That would be the only card I could see. Yeah, there is IP Masquerena.
This is just like old school Gouki. You just summon 100 Link monsters. And maybe that Silent Boots will be searching for a Fogblade?
Probably.
I was kind of hoping for a Time Thief Redoer. I think that one can accomplish even more than IP, actually.
Yeah. Because when you look through the extra deck, the cards you can summon out with the IP Masquerena are like Unicorn Phoenix and maybe Nightmare Griffin. We saw Nightmare Griffin in the live stream already in round number 1 immediately in the hands of Pascal Keem. But it looks like this is the end board we were aiming for.
We have 1 additional Fogblade right under the IP Masquerena in the Pendulum Zone.
Yeah, indeed.
What do you think of this as an end board? Do you like it?
I don't know, like how much interaction do we have here? We have the one fog blade. I always like it when an end field has monsters and back row. So a combination of both is good because a Dark Ruler doesn't end this end board, and also like evenly matched, there's always going to be something left. That's really cool. But I think I saw better ending fields already. For example, the Rika end board looked stronger to me, honestly.
Oh, the Rika end board was absolutely crazy.
Yeah,
Can't
that's what I
argue with
thought.
that. Are you checking if there's any secret effects of the Codebreaker Virus Berserker?
During your
over there?
main phase, you can destroy spell trap cards you control up to the number of linked Codebreaker monsters on the field. Oh, that's actually really good going.
What are we doing? Are we just... Oh, I think we just will be going into the Nightmare Griffin here, right? No, we go into Avramax.
Was there a Call of Battle phase, perhaps?
Probably. There must be the Call of Battle phase. And I mean, that would only be one of the many trap cards in the deck of Marcel.
Yeah.
And of course, they could always be evenly matched, and it is. And that end board is going to be gone so quickly. And only the Avramax that he just linked into via the effect of IP Masquerena is going to stick to the board. And
Marcel does look quite happy with that trade, you know?
For sure.
Avramax is really strong against this deck.
It is very tricky, but if it's just by itself, you know, you can just keep putting monsters out. It's just going to attack one monster a turn. I don't think you're super worried.
That is true. However,
Gamma.
I mean, you have 60 cards in your deck, so I think you're not the first one to deck up.
That's true.
Not,
that's
probably
true.
not.
Do you think there's any answers then in the deck or extra deck?
I don't know. Basti has to check.
I will have to have a look here. So, Big Welcome Labrynth is not the answer. Compulse neither, because both of those are targeting. Is Destructive Daruma Karma maybe an answer? I could see that, because that is changing as many monsters on the field as possible to the face-down defense position. Then, if either player controls a face-up monster, they must send all of them to the graveyard. So that would be an answer indeed, right away.
This actually just sounds like a specific out to
Avramax. Yep.
And Avramax, just to clarify, it can't be destroyed by battle, can't be targeted by... it can't be targeted by card... Can't be targeted, can't be destroyed by card effects.
Yep.
And if it battles any monster, it gains attack? Or is it a special summoned monster, perhaps?
Let me double check. And also, I found another pretty convenient out in the main deck of Marcel, which is Skilled Rain. Whenever you find Skilled Rain, that is a pretty easy answer to it as well.
By the way, the destruction protection of Avramax comes from the IP effect.
Yes. Yep.
So it wouldn't be turned off by a Skilled Rain.
But I mean, something else we have to consider. The Gouki deck is incredibly good at keeping the resources. Gozen Match hurts a lot here, I think.
Ooh, true. He knew about that Gouki rematch in hand, and that's immediately preventing that. And also, just a little add-on, Avramax has to battle a special summoned monster, as we were just talking about.
He could have waited, right?
I was thinking about whether you could wait until your opponent activates Gouki rematch.
Oh, that's a direct attack with Avramax, so Kallum is getting the first damage in here, bringing Marcel down to 5,000 life points.
I think you're sitting very pretty if you're Marcel here. I think you're very happy with how this game has gone so far.
I think it depends. You will need a way into a monster soon, because if you're not finding a monster for the next 2 turns... Okay, there's a monster. Okay, let me make that quick. He has a monster, so that's actually looking good for him. I agree.
So, and that is the normal Welcome Labrynth, right?
Yes, so that will summon any Labrynth monster from the deck. Yep. And you've got 3 options typically. There's the Ariana, which when it's summoned is level 4 and it can just search another Labrynth card. You have the Lady Labrynth of the Silver Castle, which can't be targeted and can't be destroyed while you control face down cards. And when you activate a normal trap, you can chain its effects at another normal trap.
Yes.
And then you have the Lovely Labrynth.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've gone for the Ariana here.
Yeah, so that will just keep our engine going. I like that. I mean, also the Lady of the Silver Castle will keep your engine going, because that will always set another trap when you're activating a trap. So that's really lovely indeed, just by its name already, but also by its effect.
The Lady is lovely. And you can also search the Lady now, and it has an effect to special summon itself if you used either a normal trap or a Labrynth effect this turn.
And you did both,
of which Marcel has just used 2. So, yeah. But he's adding the Big Welcome Labrynth.
Which is also good, because that will also give him access to that lovely Lady of the Labyrinth, but also can get the Ariana back to hand so it could use its effect again. So
I love Big Welcome Labyrinth. It's a lot of fun bouncing your monster. There's something about just bouncing a monster that has an effect when you normal summon it and then just summoning it again, it just feels so satisfying.
Yeah, for sure. The support wave from Photon Hypernova for the Labrynth deck was really strong and it really brought it into the top level of competition, and we definitely see that here with Marcel still being X1 in the tournament currently. Oh, and there's Prosperity, so we can search for our outs here directly, maybe picking up a skill drain or something.
Or the Daruma Karma Cannon, which would actually be fantastic in this scenario as well.
So what do you... Oh, Marcel didn't actually search the lady, so that's why he didn't summon it. I was thinking why he didn't summon it, and then it was because he didn't actually have one in his hand.
Makes sense.
That makes the most sense. So what do you think we're looking for?
So
We're looking for skill drain and Daruma Cannon?
There's Daruma Cannon. He's playing it as a one-up, and he has found it if he wants to have it here.
And luckily, you can always search it with your trap engine.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, and also Prosperity is basically like a tunneler. It really digs deep into the deck.
For sure.
You can go pot into pot. Pot of Duality does not draw a card either.
I gotta be honest. Something about an Avermax on the opposing board is just making me really nervous. So I would really appreciate him taking the Daruma Karma Cannon. He is picking up the Compulse.
Marcel, he's keeping his cool. He is not at all nervous of the Avermax, but maybe he's perhaps forgotten that it can't be targeted. I'm not sure, because it would be a very convenient out if it could be targeted.
But I mean, I thought that he's just playing the Karma Cannon for cards like Avermax.
Yeah, for sure.
It also is a sort of Book of Moon style effect, setting monsters face down, so it's a reasonable card against Kashtira's. Everyone's very hot on these types of effects while Kashtira's in the metagame.
Yeah, but we see that Kallum actually has Nibiru in his hand, and that's maybe another reason why Labrynth is so successful this weekend in the hands of Marcel, because cards like Nibiru and also cards like Effect Veiler or something, they're really not that great versus the Labrynth deck.
You'd have to try extremely hard with the Labrynth deck to allow your opponent to activate Nibiru.
But there is the reason he didn't pick the Daruma Cannon. We do have the skill drain right there.
I think that Kallum has 7 cards in his hand.
Does he? I mean, he just started his turn, so that's fine.
Oh, right. Okay, we're in his turn. I'm so sorry.
We forgive you.
Oh, okay, and then now the compulsory makes total sense, because indeed it can now out the Avermax, and that is happening right there.
This is very rough. Does Kallum run any spell and trap removal in his main deck? Should we have a little look?
I don't think so.
See if there's any
look at it.
Ways out of this.
Evenly matched is in there, so I mean now the space is there for evenly matched, because we got rid of the only card on our field.
Yeah. I mean, evenly matched is such a sort of meta-warping card at the moment, because it makes you do things that would otherwise seem really weird.
Oh, but we go for the rematch first. The thing, though, that has always been the case with Gouki decks is you are investing a lot of your extra resources in your into your first turn board, and I think still that's the case for this deck, because if I look through his extra deck, I don't even know what he's going to summon out here. Maybe Access Code Talker.
Well, keep in mind there's the Gozen match as well.
So that's not even the thing. Oh, we go for the Durandal there, equipping it to the Ariana. So that is interesting. Marcel also has to double check there.
You always have to be a little bit, a bit suspicious if your opponent targets your monster with an equip spell.
Ooh, when we go for big
that's a nice
Labrynth.
chain, because now you can return the Ariana to your hand, and then the Noble Arms Durandal will just fall off and not be able to use its effect to search for a Fire Warrior monster.
I mean, how would the Fire Warrior monster at this point even help him? But yeah, fair enough. You don't want to give your opponent more resources than
exactly. You were probably going to use the big welcome Labrynth.
Can one of you guys tell me why we did equip that Durandal to the opponent's monster? Because our monster would have been fine too, right?
Our monster would have been fine. I think maybe you expect more often than not that your opponent will have an easier time destroying one of your monsters than theirs in response.
Yeah.
But maybe he just overlooked the fact that his opponent had added a big welcome Labrynth.
Fair enough.
One Noble Arms equip spell would be really good, and it is our Foidutir.
Which he's not running.
Yeah. But that one was used back in the day in Gouki decks to get rid of some spell trap cards.
Yeah, it was one of, if you wanted to run lots of equip spells, I think that was one of the ones that you would pick.
So we are searching now for Welcome Labrynth again. And I mean, Kallum still has a lot of cards in hand, but it doesn't really look like they do too much versus Ghost Match plus Skill Drain. So it definitely looks like Marcel is going into a good route here. He's going into a direction where he could maybe close this game out.
Gotta be honest with you, there's not much that can do a lot versus Ghost and Match and Skill Rain.
Yeah, I agree.
Evenly matched.
That would
Fair
be a
enough.
good one.
The big welcome Labrynth, how did that get banished already? Is there something
I think he just used the effect. Oh no, is that big welcome? Yeah, that
Big
is
welcome is banished, so big welcome has a useful effect. I'd rather it was in my graveyard, right? Because you can banish it to activate the effect to return a monster.
Yeah, but I think he returned the Ariana, right? Because Ariana is not on the board anymore, so I think he just wants to normal summon Ariana over and over.
Was that not with the effect of Big Welcome Labrynth? It's got its other effect with the normal trap effect, which is to special summon when you activate it as a trap
I think I saw him
card.
normal summoning it again, so we are just going to normal summon this thing endlessly, I think.
Well, you don't get any value at the moment because of the skill drain, right?
Oh, true. Yeah, that's a very good point, actually. Or maybe he normaled it and then immediately chained the Big Welcome Labrynth, so he avoided his own skill drain. Probably that was the play
Between
there.
us, we figured it out.
Yeah,
we're almost as smart as Marcel between both of us.
True, but that was a very heads-up play, playing around his own skill drain there. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is annoying, obviously, having your own monster effect shut off, but if your monsters are bigger than your opponents, you don't need their effect.
Yeah, and those Labrynth monsters are pretty big. Absolutely. So, what is Kallum going to do here? Does he have an answer to all of that?
He's holding a huge hand of cards.
But also there's something on top of Marcel's field, so that must be Lord of the Heavenly Prison, right? Why would it be face up there otherwise? There would be no card that fits that description. Oh, and look at that. Big welcome Labrynth, chain welcome Labrynth. That's a pretty good one.
We are welcoming so many monsters right here. There is just an armada of ladies that are ready to attack Kallum for so much damage. Kallum is still at 8,000 healthy life points, but he has been trying to dig through his deck to find the evenly matched. But
evenly
so far,
matched.
Yeah, but I mean, we are now applying a lot of pressure because this is going to be that Lord of the Heavenly Prison now as well, and we just searched for another Lady Labrynth of the Silver Castle, which can also be summoned this turn, so that will be 3 monsters with 3,000 attack points. No, 4 even.
Yeah, he's got another lady in his hand,
yeah.
so you can special summon that during the end phase. It's important to do it in the end phase because it has to come out in defense position.
Yeah.
So then during your turn, you can switch
for
to
sure.
attack
And you
mode.
might as well then use again the effect of Big Welcome Labrynth in the graveyard to then this time go after the opponent's monster.
And then I think in combination with the Ariana, which is still in his hand, that should be enough
Probably.
to end the game on the next turn.
Most likely.
That's my bold prediction for today.
That's 12,000 points of attack right there. It's really, really strong. Labrynth doesn't look like the deck that would just casually get an OTK in, but right here I think we're about to see that.
to be honest, we're not at the point where this is a casual OTK anymore, right?
This was a good few turns in the making.
Yeah, this was acquired over several turns, several long
you can
turns.
do it
on
like
the skill
you
drain.
can. It's not something you would think often if your opponent sets a couple of cards.
But look at that, Marcel is throwing both 4 monsters onto Kallum, and that means Marcel is going to take game number 1. Labrynth is defeating the warrior deck by Kallum, and that brings him up into this match. 1-0.
Yeah, I mean, half of his setup in the first turn was basically monster negates.
Yep.
I think that even if the evenly didn't happen, skill drain and goes match would have been enough to out the entire field.
I absolutely
that
agree.
was just an IP. I mean, IP could have done something. He's not running Trisbana, is he?
Nope, he's not.
Or Zeroboros.
Neither.
But now do we think Kallum, knowing what his opponent's running, might be able to tailor his end board?
Yeah, time
He
3
certainly will, for sure.
Really seems good.
Absolutely. And also some of his cards in the side deck seem really good as well. He is bringing in the Cosmic Cyclone, which of course is just generally good versus any back row deck, which Labrynth certainly is. And then also there's the Harpy's Feather Duster. The only concern I have with those cards, because it's 4 cards in total, is that he's playing 60 cards in his main deck, so is he going to see those? That's pretty hard of a task.
That is always the downside. It's great to run 60 cards
Yeah.
for certain things, because if there's cards that you want in your deck but you don't want to draw, you can kind of bury them among the other 60.
Yeah.
So it's good to, maybe that Divine Sword Phoenix Blade, which is perfect for sending off his ult, but not a card you want to draw, then you'll draw it less often with 60 cards. But the big downside is, even if you're running 60 cards, you only get 15 cards in your side deck.
Absolutely. You don't get more cards. That would be funny, though, if you would have like 30 cards in your side deck because you are playing a 60-card main
That
deck.
would be really good. But also, you can still silent the ghost spells. Those are pretty good
Sure.
against the welcome cards, but I mean, they're not that impactful. They can buy you a few turns, but if you don't find an out to those big floodgates, to those heavy impact cards, you are still going to have the lower hand here. But yeah, I think that maybe if he sets up a Time Thief Redoer and this one can come back and come back and come back because it just attaches traps and monsters.
Yeah, it'd be great because one of the powerful effects really of Time Thief Redoer are when you attach a spell or a trap card from your opponent's deck, and you're quite likely to hit a trap card.
Absolutely. One thing that I can definitely see coming in for Marcel, on the other hand, going second now in this matchup, is Dimension Shifter, which is a card that is heavily featured in the Kashira deck, but also here in the Labrynth deck of Marcel. And is Gouki even able to combo off when they can't acquire their graveyard?
No.
The Gouki effects are like really great. To, you get a lot of gas just from every time they're sent from the field to the graveyard, you get to search another one. But now, all of a sudden, no more searches.
It's not only the Gouki cards that really rely on the graveyard. It's also the Phantom Might.
It's all of them, pretty much.
Isolde as well. Isolde can't even activate because you have to send equip spells to the graveyard. You can, oh yeah, right.
At least something.
You can search for the Gear Freed if you want to.
Something. Absolutely. So this will be very interesting to see. We will be seeing how it turns out. Once again, I am pretty certain that Kallum is going to go first, but maybe game 2 is going to turn out in another way than game number 1. Let's see it in action. Let's go for game number 2. Let's go over to the table. Another fist bump before game number 2. I love that.
Yeah, they did seem, even in the beginning, they seemed very friendly with each other, which is great.
Sure. Oh, I want to see that small word bridge.
Small word
revealing Pancratops. Okay, okay.
That is fire.
I love the small world challenge.
Yes.
Pancratops is Earth.
Yep.
Earth dinosaur.
Oh, I'm joking. You just said that's fire.
Okay, Effect Veiler also has 0 attack, 0 defense points. Fair enough, fair enough. So what are we getting? Just a light monster here? Or something with 0 attack?
Or 0 defense.
Oh, Gouki 0 defense works, yeah.
Just
Gouki Suprex, sure.
The best Gouki monster next to the Headbat, both fulfill different purposes.
You always need to check with when your opponent activates Small World, just get your head around it that you've not accidentally missed something between you.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it can be very easy to accidentally match 2 things or...
So there is the Suprex.
Suprex resolving.
And that is Silverclaw, Iron Claw.
There is
another one of the new Gouki monsters, I believe.
Yeah, this one actually
it is
funnily works like Honest, but it just gives 500 extra attack.
Ooh, and there comes Isolde. And does Marcel have an answer to Isolde? It doesn't look like it. But I mean, we are going to use the effect to special summon here.
Isolde, definitely a card you would want to negate if you had an effect negation. Because it searches and summons.
So it looks like the search is going to resolve. We are searching for Gouki Guts.
Oh, rematch already?
Oh, and we're searching for a rematch as well.
So we have the headband in hand, or do we not want the headband by now?
I guess we have it in hand. That must be the answer.
Yeah, and there is the Gear Freed. Gear Freed, such a nice search from the Isolde, because this one, it can't be used now. Can't be used this turn. But it is a really good follow-up because it is just a beater and a negate in the next turn if you get to play one. And this can also really help against the Labrynth deck.
For sure. It seems like a good control card, and this is certainly a control matchup. So in the long run, this card could definitely be a card that helps him win this game here.
It does have really lovely synergy with Isolde, doesn't it? Because Isolde puts the equips in your graveyard so that you can special summon it.
Yeah, for sure. So we are now having our Phantom Knight engine again, sending one more to the graveyard and immediately banishing it again to get another search.
So perhaps we'll see the Silent Boots to help you, well, just you can special summon it for free.
Yep, there he is. Let's see whether he's going for another combo line. I think IP Masquerena is still a pretty good card to have on your end board, not gonna lie, because it gives you access to either Nightmare Unicorn or Nightmare Phoenix on your opponent's turn. So you can already get rid of one of the cards on their field.
And that is another one of the cards that I don't really understand.
Yeah, we were really confused about that card being in his deck, but that is Draco Masters of the Tenyi. And this card cannot be destroyed by battle with an effect monster, which is actually kind of nice.
Amazing, Basti. That was really good in 2004. But no, the good part of this card is with the other Tenyi cards, if you have non-effect monsters on the field, you can pop monsters of your opponent. However, I don't see him going into, I don't see him getting any normal monsters on the field.
The only one I could think of is the Trap, the Phantom Knight's Trap, presumably is a normal monster, but there's no effect monsters that Marcel has on the field.
I mean, it is a really generic link 3 that points down to 3 different.
I think that seems like a really good use for it.
So we are again going for our code breakers, searching for the 0 day.
Because as we see here, maybe it's just if you have a link 3 rather than a link 4 to make Appaloosa, you still get the same arrows and you can do the same code breaker play where you get to special summon the 2 code breakers back from the graveyard.
And I think Kallum...
now we're going for it.
Yeah, Kallum just ruled out Nibiru because Labrynth usually is not running that card, and therefore he maybe went for a little bit more of a greedy line, just going for the full combo, having 3 link arrows there, and maybe we are going to see an even bigger end field than in the last game.
Do you think any of the lines that Kallum could take could play around Nibiru?
I mean, he went into Appaloosa very early in the last game,
that's
so
true,
that actually played around Nibiru, but look, there is the redoer. Leo, you were seeing it almost from the beginning of the match, but now it finally hits the field.
If he now finds a way to get an IP on the field, because right now he cannot summon it unless he links away the Time Thief redoer, which I wouldn't advise him to do.
I mean, he could also link away the Draco Master with Henny.
No, IP is not summoned with link.
Oh, that's right, yeah. Thanks for reminding me.
No worries, man.
Sometimes it's hard to keep up with all this. But of course, Baton Scales triggers in the graveyard, obviously, because there was a card being banished, and therefore it is on the field now, and we have access to... we go for Appaloosa. We go for Nightmare Griffin. Then we'll be setting 1 card back to our back row, and he goes for DDR.
And it searches another card, draws another card, searches a card would be
that's very
amazing.
nice.
I like the way this brings me back because the use of the Phoenix Blade was to discard it for Nightmare monsters.
Yeah.
So I really enjoy watching this happen again on the stream.
And I mean, DDR is good follow-up. So he has the Gearfried in hand, and he has DDR in hand as well, so that's pretty good.
But he does not care about IP Masquerena.
Apparently not.
He could have used the DDR.
Yeah, he could have.
Can you use it the same turn
and we get another trap card there with Welcome Labrynth.
Off of Nightmare Griffin?
Sorry?
Can you use the card that you set off of Nightmare Griffin on the same turn?
Oh no, you absolutely cannot.
That's a pretty good answer then.
I think that's a slightly unfortunate hit there, because obviously you want to hit trap cards so you can put cards on top of your opponent's deck with Redoer, but you don't really want to hit a trap card that this has a powerful grave effect, the Welcome Labrynth, so
for sure.
Bit of a bad hit for Kallum, but still a trap card, so still something you can use, and it's not yet in the graveyard, so...
Oh, and another evenly matched Marcel with the back-to-back evenly matches here in game 1 and game number 2. Wow, and it's just resolving. He keeps the Redoer and banishes everything else.
And this I find really interesting because he could preserve the Redoer for the next turn, go for a little bit more grindish approach, but I do understand why you would want to keep the shuffle back effect of the Time Thief Redoer on the field.
Yeah, for sure. The way Marcel put Pot of Prosperity onto the field there was almost like a magician. He was like flying it into the spell and trap zone there. That was kind of funny. But we are looking at the top 6 cards of our deck now. And what is he finding? Oh, there's Gozen Match again.
Gozen Match looks... This is actually not the best pickup here. I mean, Gozen Match can work, but Time Thief Redoer will always be there to respond to the card.
For sure.
So this is not the strongest of pickups. I mean, Skill Drain would have been fantastic.
Yeah.
So remind me, can Redoer shuffle any card, or does it have to be a face-up card? Okay,
only
so you can't use
cards.
it in the end phase to...
But honestly, the reveals were really unfortunate because there was Dimension Shifter, which you cannot activate anymore. 2 Pot of Prosperities, which you couldn't activate this turn anymore either, so it really wasn't that great.
Had to be the Gozen Match.
Yeah, he had to end up with the Gozen Match. And is that just a classic set 5?
Compulsory?
We just see the classic set 5 by Marcel there. That's strong stuff.
And double compulsory is a really good feel for him right now because he can just actually target the Time Thief Redoer, chain Redoer, and then just target it again with another compulse and shuffle it back into the extra.
So, do you think Kallum free to go into main phase here?
Oh, wait, do you think you bother to attach another material from your opponent with the Redoer?
I mean, you want to fish for the stars, you want to get a spell.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
But how many spells are there in the deck, do you think? You've just seen 2 Pot of Prosperity on the bottom.
All right, that is actually a good point.
Yeah, there's 2 more dualities in there, but yeah, all in all, there's not that big of a chance. But
I don't think fish for the stars is an expression, to be honest.
Oh, but there's Harpy's Featherduster by Kallum! There's Harpy's Featherduster, and Kallum is calming the crowd down, being like, yeah, that is not going to help me because he has an answer. But what is the answer here?
I think there is maybe a dimensional barrier set. But I don't know how that helps against the Link deck. No, this big welcome
there's
Labrynth.
big welcome Labrynth, but that means there's no solemn judgment or such things, so that will resolve. The back row will be cleared here from Kallum.
That was a really interesting. I've never seen someone when they play a card and the crowd gets hyped, he says, no,
Yeah.
calm down, everyone.
I mean, we know about the Gearfried and Henstel, and that could, with a simplified game state, really be a very strong card here.
He also, I think,
And
might...
Ghost Spell
Ghost
into
Spell.
the big welcome Labrynth as well!
This is just really tough for Marcel now. And he's just picking... Okay, no, he was just fixing his graveyard there. And now Kallum is free to go. No cards in hand, no cards in the graveyard. We are at 4 cards. Time Thief Redoer will return in the next step phase.
And
we're
there's
going for
Gouki
Gouki
rematch.
rematch. And that is so many cards in itself.
I think Kallum is just a humble man because he wanted to calm down the crowd, being like, let me finish this game first, because that's what he's about to do here. And we are picking up the cards. Harpious Featherduster brings Kallum into this game, and a game that looked unwinnable to me for a second with 5 cards being set is now victorious for Kallum. Wow.
That was some board breaks into some board breaks, a board into a board breaker into a board breaker.
And he managed to draw the one-off Harpious Featherduster in 60 cards. Don't mind what I was saying before the game.
You
Play as
always
many
have
as you
the
like.
one-offs in the 60-card decks. However, I would have liked to see this game grind out, because that was still the Time Thief Redoer. It was just banished. He just didn't compose it again.
Yeah.
And he also had the Gearfried, so I think Gearfried could have done a lot of work potentially.
Sure.
And he also had the rematch. There was actually a lot of stuff happening for him.
But I mean, you have to remember there also was Ghost Match. So Ghost Match would have prevented the Gearfried maybe from hitting the field.
Destroy if it negates a card?
I think it does. If I remember correctly, I would say it does.
Because
If you negate the effect of a continuous trap, I think it just goes to the graveyard anyway. Is that correct?
I don't think that's the case.
Is that
no.
wrong?
Yeah.
Okay.
But Gearfried was just to have been summoned before then, before the Ghost Match could hit the field, and then you could just go Ghost Match.
So
rematch, and then Ghost Match, and all the matches.
all the matches, evenly matched, also coming in, joining the party.
All the matches. Just bring him in here.
Leo, you were talking about Dimensional Barrier. I don't know for what reason, but last time in the last game you thought you saw it, but I see it here in the side deck of Marcel.
Yeah,
do
it's
you
not
think,
coming in.
Do you think that's a valid option? Not at all, right?
First of all, that was going second, so I just saw a card that kind of looked like Dimensional Barrier. So
I think it may have been the big welcome Labrynth.
I thought I just blurred it out. It was the big welcome Labrynth.
But the thing is, it's a Link deck, right?
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Unfortunately, you can't call links.
Another
Dimensional Barrier.
Another card I have here, though, which is more interesting, is Imperial Iron Wall. This card is designed to be sided in against Kashira and versus Runic decks. But I mean, there are a couple of cards that are banishing here in this matchup as well, so why
Phantom
not bring
Knights
it in?
And the best equipped spell of all time, the Phoenix Blade.
The Gearfried can't be summoned?
The Gearfried
I
can't
think
be summoned.
evenly match is probably the critical
That
reason.
is
you
also
decided
a
the
really
Imperial
strong
Iron
one,
Wall,
yeah. So probably we're going to bring that in, right?
And of course the Solemn Judgments, the classic.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm going first. I will put in some Solemn Judgments.
Let's have some
Why not?
safety, yeah. Let's
What
have
could
some
possibly
safety,
go wrong?
For sure. I definitely, those are coming in 100%, no debate. And I'm really interested to see how this is going to turn out. And I think the players have already done the fist pump. So they are ready for game number 3, as we are. I hope you at home are as well. So let's get into game number 3 here of round 7 of YCS London.
Opening hands of 5 drawn by both players. We still have comfortable 13 minutes on the clock, so this won't be a time issue probably. We're seeing 2 monsters in the hand of Marcel, which is not really what you are aiming for.
Unless one of them is Dimension Shifter.
That is a really good point.
For sure. Oh yeah, and it is. Okay, we have the Dimension Shifter there right away from Marcel. The thing that is a little bit critical for Marcel here is, though, he's not, like, Labrynth is not the deck that can capitalize very quickly on that.
Yeah.
So even if Kallum cannot play this turn, it's probably not going to be the last turn of the duel, and therefore he may still have a chance, even though he's on the Dimension Shifter in this turn.
So do you think if you're Kallum, you just maybe pass without doing very much? Or
No, he just
not commit very much?
summons out the red layer there.
Just one. Well, he's not done much so far. You know, he's just tentatively committing. There we go.
Fair
just
enough, fair
a
enough.
red layer and attack. Yeah, I like the fact, I was thinking about whether you're supposed to use Dimension Shifter on your turn, because it lasts for like 2 full turns.
Yeah.
But I guess with Labrynth, you'd rather your cards be able to go to the graveyard on the turn after.
Probably, yeah. So there is the equipment of Durandal.
Search a Fire Warrior. This is a Noble Arms card, so I'll forgive myself that I don't know what it does.
We are searching for... That's Renault, right? Yeah, that's Renault.
I have to look up the artwork of Renault as well again, because, see, yeah, he's sitting on a horse. It looks really cool. Really like the artwork of this guy. Look at this steed is looking majestic.
I mean, we were thinking that Dimension Shifter really is shutting this down very, very hard, but he's still going, and we are now resolving the search effect of Isolde.
You are actually right. He is just summoning Isolde under Shifter just to search out something like
I saw it coming. I saw it coming.
I think he has a second one in his extra deck, as we saw in the last game. So I think maybe this is just a very small turn one. He already used his battle phase this turn to attack. So I don't think he's going to have much to do after
you're right.
this. Yeah, I saw him attack with the red layer. On Marcel on 6,000.
Marcel is on 6,000, indeed.
And Marcel is not activating anything in the end phase, so we are just going to see a pass here.
Always very promising, because as I was saying in the last game, normally, you know, if your opponent's set 3, you think, I'm probably going to be in this game for a few more turns. They're going to be doing slow.
Oh, there's Ghost Spell right away on the first Labrynth trap card that's being activated.
So Marcel, rather than activating in the end phase, decided to wait until his next turn because he was under the effect of Dimension Shifter.
Yep, absolutely.
So now Ghost Spell is apparently not banished, but in the field zone.
Yeah, but that's because Kallum is left-handed and his deck is on the left side. So.
But I mean, the Renault is also... there is a banish zone.
Yeah.
So that was the Lord of the Heavenly Prison
and it goes back over to Kallum. So it seems like Marcel is struggling to get damage going, and that Isolde actually stayed on the field.
Have you ever seen this happen before?
Not really. Just a 1,600 attack monster staying on the board
for a whole turn.
Being able to summon out Gouki
got to be over the moon with this. And again, the more you play and your opponent hasn't responded, the more confident you feel, because if there was a skill drain, if there was a Gozen match, it probably would be face up by now. Oh, okay.
Oh, there's a Gozen match. Never mind then, never mind. So that means we gotta... Oh, the Cosmic Cyclone for the Gozen match, and the crowd goes wild about it. Kallum just draws his back row removal, even though he's on 60 and he's playing 4 back row removals.
Oh,
Judgment in response!
The back and forth is immaculate in this matchup, but this is just 3,000 life points for Marcel. If we find another monster, he has the Suprex. Suprex is
Earth. You have to remember that he has the Lord of the Heavenly Prison revealed at the moment, right? Sorry, not to burst your bubble.
Yep.
But he can just summon a 3,000 monster. It's a big wall in the way of Marcel's life points.
He has enemy controller. I'm sure he's fine.
Yeah, it's in defense mode.
Yeah, that's true. Also, it was so dramatic.
Please.
It was so dramatic the way Marcel waited to activate the Solemn Judgment, right? There is the Cosmic Cyclone, and he held back for 10 seconds, and then, no, that is not happening.
He was doing it for the crowd.
For sure, for sure. Absolutely.
Some showman here.
Exactly. He also gets another trap from his deck, so what do you think he's going to go for here?
I think we may be even going for a spell instead. I think I can see
you can set a spell?
Pot of Prosperity.
That's
yeah,
great.
You can, yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely, because that gives you access to like a lot of different options. On the other hand, the Labrynth traps, I was about to say, that are also a pretty decent pickup.
I was thinking, like, what would you get off Pot of Prosperity? What would you want off Pot of Prosperity that you couldn't just search directly?
Yeah, for sure. Like in Eldritch decks, where you usually played a lot of the Heavenly Prison back in the day, you would go for Extravagance, because that would just be a draw too, which I understand. But Prosperity is right.
Okay, we're going to see
that's another Earth monster.
Double Suprex, so those look kind of threatening.
I love the speed and confidence with which Kallum plays.
Is that just going to be another Resolve?
Cerberus?
Oh, it's going to be Cerberus!
Well, this looks like it's game.
This could be enough.
This actually looks like it's going to be enough right here.
He's on 3,000 life points. Marcel is really sitting with his back against the wall. Is that going to be the last turn of this duel?
Headbat can even increase the attack points of the Suprex if you special summon it out now. And this
we
is
get hit with both monsters for the game! And the crowd once again is going wild and loves it. Another underdog taking a match here at the 250 YCS in London. All the underdogs are going through. That's crazy.
And both of the players were having so much fun with it as well.
It's good to see Marcel, like, you know, he seems to be enjoying being in the feature match. even if he didn't manage to take the win.
Maybe he also was a Gouki enjoyer back in the day, and he also is enjoying that his Gouki is having so much success right here. This is crazy. Super heavy samurais first, now Gouki. Where are we going? I mean, are we going to see insectors later? What is happening
I
here?
would love that, but I mean, I gotta say, the Gouki effect, resolving this, it's so satisfying. You just link away into an Isolde with 2 monsters, and for summoning your Link 2, you get 3 cards if you summon Super X before. And
this is so strong,
absolutely insane. It's just like you're taking half of your deck and adding it to your hand because you did something good for yourself.
It is super good.
60 card deck, so half of it, that's 30. Normally you'd only get 20, but 30...
This is super
Plus
good.
10, it's really strong.
And I gotta say, I don't even see this deck being super bad going second, because he's featuring so many good cards going second as well. He's having space for Ash Blossom, there's Pankratops, there's Effect Veiler, there's so much. Nibiru even, we saw the evenly matched.
And so many extenders to push through boards as well. Like, you get to keep all of the advantage.
I like his chances for the event, now being 6-1 in the tournament.
Also, the format has become a bit slower. I mean, for decks like this, cards like Gozen Match and Skill Drain, they are really crucial because you have so many options to enhance your combo, which does not work if you're not allowed to play the cards. But if you are playing against decks that set up some interactions, then it's really good to have multiple extenders and then end on your big combo. However, the combo that he put out, it wasn't that impressive, I gotta be honest. The first turn boards weren't too strong, but there is also one of our favorite cards. We have seen Aqua Dolphin.
Yes.
There, I don't think it's in the graveyard. Oh, there it is, next to the Isolde. You can summon Neospace Connector, go for the Aqua Dolphin, look at the opposing hand, take a card, and then later on tribute the Neospatian Connector again to summon back the Dolphin, and then hand loop your opponent again. So this deck is so
we saw
phenomenal.
back in the day, place we saw back in the day. That was really, really cool. I love to see that back in the day. I love to see it being back here, live in the featured match area, which is crazy. Everybody wants to hear from our Gouki player in the field, so please, talk to our winner of this match.
Thank you very much, Basti. Yes, I am here with Kallum, who's just won that round 7 feature match, much to the delight of the entire audience of people watching. The crowd were going wild during that. Kallum's enjoying soaking up the atmosphere here. Kallum, congratulations. That was your first feature match. As we got up there, you were telling me, my deck's crazy. And I'm going, shh, don't say anything. You're not going to say anything to the others, but you're like, I might be the reason we're up here. And you kind of were. How are you feeling right now?
Yeah, so I'm feeling quite confident with my deck. I think it's really strong. I think the Gouki cards are like really, really strong because of the grind game, right? Kashtira, all the meta decks sort of like, it just outgrinds them. And yeah, I feel like that engine's the best part of the deck. And then you've got other grind engines through the Reynolds combo with adding back to Reynolds and stuff.
So would you consider it a warrior combo deck more than Gouki, or would you consider it mostly Gouki?
So obviously my favorite aspect is the Gouki cards, right? Yeah, I love them cards. Rematch is crazy, right? So basically what happened is, like the deck is basically called Warrior Turbo, right? That's what I call it. And obviously I've got a Discord full of people, right, who basically play the deck and stuff. And shout out to them guys, like, weren't for them, like the deck wouldn't be a thing. But I'm just a pilot, man. Shout out to them guys, man.
Well, that's good to hear. It's nice to hear a community of people coming up with Warrior Turbos. That sounds like a cool deck, and one that not many people are playing. Although, by the sounds of it, after this, more people might. Let's go through the game that you've just had, because obviously we had we had 3 whole games of that, and it was quite exciting. You had the full combo right at the start, but then got hit by the Evenly, there was the Avramax and things, and then Gozen Match and Skill Drain. So those continuous trap cards really do a lot of the holding of the control in those moments from Labrynth. And then you had a huge field built against you. In fact, Leo was saying that you basically had an armada built against you. So when that happens, are you feeling nervous? Are you worried that that's going to happen in every game, or were you feeling confident?
I didn't care because like I know I'm confident about my deck and my play style. When he killed me, I was like, that's unfortunate. We'll just move on to the next game. We'll try and win there. And yeah, just don't let anything affect me.
That's probably the best way to go through it. You've got to keep that composure when you're on those feature matches. So we'll talk about that game too that we went into. Straight off with a huge field from you. You had Griffin, Bardiche, Redoer. Why did you go Griffin instead of Appaloosa, out of curiosity?
Because I didn't think Appaloosa would get a lot of value from the trap card, because he has lots of trap cards, and it plays harder into evenly matched and board breakers. So I was just like, well, why not just make Griffin so I can have more follow-up, like DDR, which obviously, by the way, if you saw DDR resolve, oh my god, man.
Crazy. So then the rest of that, there was an evenly matched from Marcel again. Marcel then set 5 and then did the compulsory evacuation on Redoer. But then that was when you had the Harpies come out and the crowd went nuts. It was crazy. When you're sitting backstage and you're watching it on the screen and you hear the crowd go, you know something good is about to happen in the next few seconds on that stream. And it was great. And so that momentum just carried you to the win. So now it's 1 game apiece. When you're going to that 3rd game, are you still maintaining that confidence that's carried you through?
100%. I mean, you know, I believe in myself. I believe I'm capable of, you know, doing huge things. I just think that sort of like I just need to obviously maintain calmness and mindset. And once I've done that, I feel like I'm fine. And that's where obviously the game action happened.
Well, no kidding, because let's talk about this game 3. Excuse me. So we had Gozen match from Marcel. You tried to get rid of it with the Cosmic Cyclone, but then it got negated with the Solemn Judgment and all those kind of things. And then after a lot of interaction, there was that Cerberus and Suprex just going in for game. And like you said, you just maintained that composure. You knew what you were doing. You know your deck really well. So you were just getting ready to build those fields, do all your combos, and just go in. So you're now, what's your score now?
So I'm X1 at the minute. I'm trying to sort of like, again, just not let that loss that I had, like, you know.
What was the loss?
It was to Marcus Patel, shout out to that guy.
Wow, okay, against the European champion. That's a fair one to lose. And what's he playing? I actually don't say in case someone goes up against it. But was it a difficult match?
It was fine, but it was just like sometimes a card, it just basically ruins you. It just is what it is, right? It's variance.
That's Yu-Gi-Oh!
Exactly, right? I wish it wasn't part of Yu-Gi-Oh!, but it is what it is, right? So yeah. Other than that, again, I believe in my deck. You know, I feel like I can achieve something here. Who knows how far I'll go? I'm just looking for fun, man.
I mean, you guys need to channel this positivity from Kallum when you guys ever make it to a YCS. And if you're here now, adopt this mindset. That's what's going to carry you all the way through to those top cuts. Congratulations again on your win and your first feature match. Very exciting. Wish you the best of luck with all of your upcoming Swiss rounds. I hope it goes well. Maybe we'll see you in the top cut with this deck. Who knows? I hope it carries you well through. Guys, don't go anywhere, because before we jump into our next round with round 8, only 2 more rounds to go for today's coverage, round 8 and then round 9, we're going to have a quick speed duel tournament, which you saw the start of earlier before our last game, but now we're going to carry it on.